In this video, I'm going to talk about the Decent Milk Jugs and what makes them decent. Now, we make them with two different kinds of spouts and in two sizes. What makes a milk jug decent? Now, by far the most important thing are the precision measurement lines. What the measurement lines do is they let you put in the exact right amount of milk before you steam it, and then once you've steamed it, to check that the rise that you put in is appropriate for the drink that you're trying to make. For a flat white, you typically want to rise the foam by 25%, for a latte by 50%, and a cappuccino is a doubling, 100% more foam. That means if you started with 100 mils of milk and you want to make a flat white, you'd like to rise to 125, a latte would be 150, and a cappuccino would be 200 mils on the measurement lines. Now, a lot of people don't know this, and it really helps to have those lines to make sure that you're making the drink that you intended to make. Naturally, it's nice not to have heated too much milk and then throw it down the drain. It may seem like a minor thing, but the thickness of the walls of the milk jug are quite important. I've used a lot of milk jugs that are really thick, and there's a couple problems with that. First of all, it just slows down the milk steaming. That milk jug is typically cool, it's been rinsed, or it's room temperature, and you've got to heat it up with the milk as well. So you're having to steam for several seconds more to heat the wall every single time you steam milk, and then you're cooling it down when you wash. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. We spent a lot of time making the wall thickness exactly what we wanted it, so that we wouldn't spend too much time heating the walls, but also it didn't feel flimsy. And if you don't use a thermometer, if the walls are too thick, you're going to have a delay between the milk heating and you feeling it in your hand. So a thinner wall is actually better so that you steam to the right temperature if you're stopping by feel. And since we're on the topic of stopping steaming by the feel of the temperature on your hand, I'd rather you didn't do that, because we've spent a lot of time making this digital thermometer. It's made by a German company for us. We think it's the best in the market, and we've made our milk jugs work really well with it. Specifically, there's this hole right here. So instead of using a clip that would latch on here, and then when you poured, the thermometer would fall out, with the hole here, you just slide it in, tap, and it's completely locked in. It's not going to fall out. And to take it out, you just twist it out like that. So super easy. Tap, locked, pour, pull it out. There's really no reason to steam without a milk thermometer. Your beverages will thank you. A little known fact about steaming milk is if you steam a little bit too hot, and a little bit can be 5 centigrade too hot, the sugars will change, and even when the milk cools, the milk will not go back to its original flavor. That's why this has 60, 65, 70 centigrade, and anything over 70 centigrade, the milk is permanently ruined. Generally, people are aiming for 60 to 65 Celsius. If you do that with your hand, you're amazing, but I'm pretty doubtful that you can manage it. So think about getting the combination milk jug with a thermometer. It works really well. There are two kinds of spouts on our milk jugs. There's a narrow and a wide. Let's start with the wide one. It's the better choice if you're just starting off in latte art. The reason is that this thick lip here allows you to angle your milk jug like this to here, and the width of the milk doesn't change. So you don't have to be really precise about this angle. You get a nice wide latte art without having to think too much. However, when you're ready to proceed in your latte art skills, you'll want to move to a pointed tip. The reason is that this is a directly straight angle, and as I angle this more or less, the width of the milk coming out will change. So you need to think a bit more, you need to have angle control in order to control the width of the paintbrush of your milk, but it'll be rewarded by your ability to have very fine lines. One more word about latte art. The real top competitors in latte art prefer to steam in a single serving milk jug, but then pour from a larger one. And let me explain why. When you steam in the smaller one, you get a really nice whirlpool, the depth is good. You want to be steaming one drink in the small one. But when it's time to pour, when you pour with the small one here, you'll see there's a lot of milk staying here as you come in and pour. And that makes it harder to control. So generally, the competition latte artists prefer to steam in the small jug and then pour down to the sidewall here onto a larger one, removing any bubbles they may have made. And then when they pour in, they're able to get much, much closer to the jug, and they have much less here in the tub. So that's a trick that you'll find in a number of videos from competition latte artists. It's a reason why you might consider getting all three different styles. A wide brush as you're just getting started, a narrow brush when you're getting better to fine-tune your latte art skills, and then a 600 ml jug for when you really want to go next level, steam small, pour large. That is a summary of the line of Decent Milk Jugs and why we think they're pretty decent.